Welcome to American Gypsy Podcast. I am your host, Gypsy, and today we have a special guest, Aundrea Sides. She is a luminary in the realm of psychic mastery whose connection to the vast energies of the universe has shaped her destiny. Aundrea's odyssey of self-discovery unveiled a powerful array of psychic gifts, establishing her as a true oracle of the unseen. Welcome to the show, Aundrea.
Wow, when you hear that, it's like a mouthful. Thank you very much.
It was, I was hoping I don't mess it up.
Oh, no, it was great. Thanks, Gypsy. Thank you so much for inviting me here with all your viewers to, with Spotify, with all of this, and just here in general. I feel very blessed. My intention is always, and inspiration is always to give so much more. Talking about myself's great and everything, but what I do is I bring people back home to themselves. This is my gift, to bring out the gifts, to bring out the intuition, to bring out the clairvoyance. When you use yourself, you know yourself with clarity, with truth and intuition, and you're guided. Now you have this incredible access to universal wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Creativity, and you remember who you are without any doubts. You are excited about your life, your evolution, and you want to collaborate and celebrate your life with others. And then being of service, guess what? Just becomes natural. It becomes natural, right?
Yeah.
So this is, yeah. So thank you. Thank you for having me to be here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're on different sides of the world here.
I know. I love your
Bring it all
background.
together.
Where are you coming
Mhm.
from?
So I'm in Mauritius. My background does match where I'm at.
Nice.
I like to do that just so I know when I'm on podcasts, I'm doing interviews. It's kind of like, oh yeah, wow, I remember talking to that person, and that was so incredible. And it's nice. And when we're real, when we're authentic, even the backgrounds that show up, they should be
Yeah.
authentic. But it's okay to dream too, of course. Yeah. But yeah, Mauritius is a beautiful place. I wanted to live on an island for a year. I got my year visa and I brought the kids, and I've been living here and enjoying the water and surfing and, sailing and, you know, meditating on the board in the morning, watching the sun, come up. It's been incredible. I didn't want to think about the beach and the heat and all the wonderful things that it made you feel, and that I was missing out on something anymore. And I just said, I'm just going to do it. So now I'm glad that I've done it, and I'll probably only be here for a year, and I'll probably move back to the mountains.
That's nice. That's definitely on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but always get, if you want to, you want to live life and take it all in and doing stuff, but when it's time and it's time to move on, instead of delaying it, and it's like next for the next step, it's time, which you probably already know in your own
Yeah.
experience since you just newly moved. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to moving around a lot. When did you start your spiritual journey and what was the catalyst?
Being born, really being born. I think that as you remember your wholeness, as you really truly heal, right? As we remember that we come from unconditional love, that we come from wholeness. And this is not just words. We really come from love. We come from wholeness. We are well. And when you do the work and you get rid of the layers and you get rid of the conditioning and the beliefs and the systems and the religion and the schools and all the stuff that doesn't enhance, that is like, you're not supposed to be controlled by these things. You're supposed to parlay into them and add vitality to them. So it began before I even got here in my mother's womb,
Mhm.
as I came here. And I knew that when I came in. And as I've been on my journey, I've cleared a lot of that. I've helped a lot of other people clear it so they can remember their truth. And a lot of people say, well, what's the truth? How do you know what the truth is? Well, I don't blame you. You've been looking for truth and love all in the wrong places. And when we're let down over and over and over again, we start wondering what the truth really is. And guess what? Right in, it takes you. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a very powerful thing. The contrast was never meant to stay in for, to take it to the place of victim consciousness and being, inner critical and disloyal to self, and savage, meaning not knowing how to control your emotions and evolve your emotions. The contrast was meant to be there so that we can reflect, that we can observe, that we can go to neutral, that we can open up, we can expand, see what the difficulties are so that we can come up with the solutions, and that we can live in a world that is sustainable, that is love. We collaborate. Um, and this is the direction of my world. This is the direction of my friends and family. This is the direction of the places that I live and stay, because I'm not looking on the outside anymore. I'm living it. I'm doing it. When you become your own frequency, when you like our names and you own your own frequency and you've done the work, you remember who you are and your spiritual journey and your life experience. The life experience is meant to be wonderful. It's meant for pleasure. It's meant for joy. And people will fight against me all they want with that and go for it. And I understand why you would fight me against that, because you're looking outside for the answers. You're looking for the fulfillment, but you fulfill the inside. You navigate within fearlessly. Shadow work, luminary work. You open up parts, and when your world becomes more creative and more interesting than the one that you see out, then pretty soon that line gets a little bit less, and then the whole world, you see the whole world in a different way. You see
Yeah.
vitality. You see yourself feeding the earth, sustainable, not sucking and siphoning your vitality, not using you as a power source and regurgitating everything else that has already existed. You're adding to what already exists. It's a beautiful thing, Gypsy. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it is possible. And at Vitality Unleashed, this is what we do. We remove those false belief systems, a lot of those things, so people can start. And it's not that I tell anybody what to do. It's a certain channel. It's a frequency. Like when you go into any ceremony, if anybody has ever experienced, which I'm sure on your show and your viewers, are like any kind of ceremony or whatever, that ceremony will tell you your life should look like a ceremony. You should understand. You should know that you come from that this place, that they're the spirit, the physical body is the dream of the soul. So start listening. Hello. So your life becomes more like a ceremony. Yeah.
So how do you get to the point where you're listening to your internal guidance? How do you strengthen your intuition and know that there is internal guidance to begin with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ask yourself. You ask, hello in there, you're there somewhere. I know you are. What would it take for you to completely come out and so that I can hear your voice above all the others? What would it take for me to be able to feel the love and strengthen the love within myself? I love my family. I love my kids. I love all these people just for breathing. How would it feel to do that for myself? What would it take for me to get all my creativity back and my childhood wonderment? Yum. What would it take to get my yum back? Ooh, what would it take for me to have passion and clarity and truth? What would it take for me to have pleasures and the pleasures in life without me judging myself or judging others? So go have a beer. Bless the beer first. Drink it. Okay. And if you don't like it and you still feel bad, ask yourself again, bless it and say, I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm not going to judge myself, but whatever, just keep on asking. It's not about motivation. It's not criticizing yourself so to death so that you will make the next step. We are knowing that this does not work in today's world anymore. It's dull, it's old, it's the old system, it's old beliefs, it's everything, and it doesn't work long term. This is how we go within and remember our wholeness. We don't need to be healing all the time. Got to remember who we are. And first, by asking questions. The next thing is ask for the truth. Keep on at, show me the truth. Gypsy, show me the truth, Aundrea. Show me whoever you are. Show me the truth and breathe. Bring your presence, your spirit, your breath back into your body. Breathe. Make your own meditation. Make your own meditation. Listen to your voice when you're meditating. I'm sitting here. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What do I want to ask myself? Let's go ahead and ask, because a lot of people cannot. And they don't. Even some of the best spiritual people that I know cannot sit for long periods of time or whatever and be able to meditate, or it's boring and they want to go live life or whatever. But it's very interesting when you hear your own voice. And if you can do it without criticism, and then you can change your voice or frequency or ask yourself questions, you start emanating a different frequency and you start attracting different things outside yourself. What happens with most people, spiritual people, people in general, with the whole manifestation, creation, whatever thing, that they start going inside, they're knowing what they desire. They know, what brings them joy, what brings them pleasure, but they're still looking on the outside and wondering why it's not showing up yet, because you don't trust yourself all the way. You have not fully trusted and stepped into yourself. And the outside world is still showing you everything that you've been doing.
Mm.
It takes a little while. Keep trusting yourself. Keep loving. If you don't know what love and unconditional love looks like, then say, I would like to love myself more. I would like to learn more about what this unconditional bullshit is all about. Even if you don't know, or I would like to take the bullshit out of unconditional, but I don't really feel like that right now because I'm still angry. And I'm angry because every time I get angry, people tell me to shut up or they tell me to be quiet, and I can't feel my emotions because nobody can hold space for me without getting involved and elevating their own emotions. We need to be in a place that we can be masters of our emotions. Our emotions were never meant, I'm totally channeling here, as you can see, Gypsy, it's going.
Go ahead.
Our emotions, our emotions, our emotions are meant to be elevated. And what I mean by elevated, to be neutral, where we can observe ourselves, we can look at what's been going on. We can observe, we can have good discernment. We can see, we can get through the possibilities. We can allow ourselves to be able to feel and elevate and to be able to go to the next step, instead of feeling angry and vicious and angry. And then everybody's like, you can't do that, and and judging. And then you go into the victim consciousness, and then people are savage, more people are savage, and inner critic happens, and all these things happen, and you have no safe space to express your emotions. When you have an elevation and you know how to master your emotions, feel them still. When people say master emotions, for some reason, people think, oh, are you really feeling them? Is what's going? Master emotions means feel it in the body, know where it comes from, where it generated, honoring it, looking at what it's causing, clearing it from the root. Boom. And we give tools on emotional mastery. We give emotions on being able to clear trauma, patterns, blocks, vitalityunleashed.live. And it starts with frequency, channeled messages, and also for giving people tools. They can just listen. There's a module. They can just listen and something shift. These things shift. You don't have to believe me. Go check it out. We have a lifetime guarantee on these things. This is not me selling. This is what I came here to do. I'm so confident with it. Yes, I have to exchange time for energy, but we're so confident, and spirit has came through me so much. And this is my passion, just like this is your passion, my dear, and many other things, I'm sure. We give a lifetime guarantee back to their money. Now, that doesn't mean come in, do the stuff, and then keep upgrading and then expect your money back. No, that means if you come in, you do the modules, you don't see any change, it didn't give you any value, you can have your money back over a lifetime. So it's a win-win, right? We want to take all the scariness, want to take the money part out of it. We want to take all of that out so that you can just be present for yourself. There's no excuses. There's none. It's beautiful. Yeah.
So when you're first starting out, how do you discern like other people's emotions, or your emotions from other people's projection, especially when you're talking about empaths or anything like that, where you absorb energies and sometimes you realize it's not even yours. So how do you separate the two?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, a lot of times people go through rebellion first. Okay, so they go through rebellious stages or elevated stages and things like that to practice neutrality and observing yourself in an honest way. But in order to do that, you have to start asking the questions inside. So you don't just go from I'm doing all of these different patterns to like, oh, the next time you're not. You have to start asking yourself these questions. How can I have these emotions and observe myself? How can I have these emotions and still step back and kind of be able to observe and be neutral. I would like to aim for neutrality and also discern and be able to accept responsibility. Yes, accept responsibility for myself, and how can I take this emotion, take responsibility, and not vomit it out to everybody else just to keep the cycle going, right? It becomes conscious, you become aware. So that's a long answer. The short answer is to bring yourself inside. And sometimes we're so empathic. So when I was young, I was extremely empathic. I took on everybody's stuff. And when I meant I took on everybody's stuff, I didn't know what was other people's and what was mine. I loved everybody. And somewhere along the line, that getting older and being asked to do this and this and that, even though it didn't feel right, I wanted to people please, and you go into codependency and enmeshment, and oh my gosh, you name it, I had it. And then going into rebellion because none of this works anyways for me. I can't get a real job. I can't go to school and sit still. I can't do, like, I came in, Gypsy, as like, none of that's going to work for you. You're going to have to go right back into yourself, right? My threshold, because I was so sensitive. So when I would go, like when something didn't work for me, I knew it didn't work for me, and I would feel very sad. I would get depressed. I would have ADHD. I would have all these different things. And then I was trying to transmute everybody's emotions because I didn't know what was somebody else's and what was mine. Now, through solitude, talking to self-meditation, being able to ask yourself, what does a person do in this situation right now? I'm elevated, that loves themselves. I don't really want to hear that right now, but I'm going to ask right now, what does that person do that completely unconditionally loves? What can I do? And stop and breathe and keep breathing and know. And as you go on and as you do this stuff, you know how to hold your frequency without being triggered by everything on the outside, because it's clear. And with self-love, and you keep on asking these questions, I just ask people to do it for 6 weeks and watch what happens. Their perspective on things when they get emotional, and you want to do it when you're not emotional too. You want to do it with both, right? First asking for clarity, asking for the truth, asking, what does self-love look like in this situation? You know, we love our kids, we love our family for just breathing. We love our kid for just breathing, right? What would that take for me to do that? And people think, oh, that's so simple. Or when I'm mad, there's no way in heck that I would ever ask myself and do something. Okay. So keep on making excuses for your limitations. And right here and right now on this podcast, if you're thinking that, your emotions are taking over and telling you a truth that is not true. But I can't tell that person that. They have to discover it inside themselves. Best way to do that, again, meditation. Start listening to your own voice. You will discover so much stuff about yourself when you're doing a self-meditation, listening to your voice. Put some, if it helps out, put some music in the background and listen to yourself. See if you can go deeper in the meditations that you like. The ones that you don't like, that's whatever you don't like about that, is the frequency, is what you're putting out into the world and attracting to yourself. If you're feeling yucky, you don't like your voice, you're not feeling self-worth, you're feeling like you weren't confident with that, you feel illiterate, you feel that you just have no knowledge. Oh my gosh, I sound like, what, my voice really sounds like that? Self-reflection. Self-reflect. Why judgment? Whoa, oh my God, laugh at yourself. Find humor, find more pleasure. Another thing, huge, Gypsy. I know that there's seem very simple, but I want to give things that are real, right? Does it feel real? It feels real, right?
Yeah.
The self, to be the 5 things that I was talking about, the modules. And we were talking about Vitality Unleashed. There's these, I've been working with people 15, 20 years. There's 5 things that people need to transmute in order to help themselves emotionally too. It has to do with that self-infidelity, the judgment, you know, inner critic. victimhood, savage, not being able to control those emotions. It's all connected. Self-righteousness. I see this in the spiritual community a lot when people are, starting to know things and they never knew them before. And then they want to teach everybody, and then they want everybody to know what they know, and they're so excited about it, but they need it to take that energy. It really helps to focus it inward and become that love, become that compassion, become your value. It doesn't have to be love and compassion. This is my values. This is what gets me the closest to who I am in the divine. And when I'm in meditation, to channel that assists me in joy and bliss and happiness and delight and pleasure. I live in Mauritius. I do these things every day. My kids don't go to a normal school. I teach them about intuition and meditation. They want to teach other people. When they're in the room with other kids and they're bullying and stuff, they teach them what to do.
Mm.
So living it and being able and when they feel angry or whatever, I have my kids breathe. I have them laugh at themselves. When you're being too serious, change that into laughter. Most things are pretty funny that we get mad at, don't you think, Gypsy?
Yeah.
They are, aren't they? And the things
There.
where we're critical about ourselves, we would probably laugh at somebody else for it or feel compassion.
Yeah.
And when you
Honestly,
get,
I feel like it's easier to have self-love if you can really look at yourself, the bad, the good, and take accountability for, like, why am I like this? What triggered this? What childhood trauma do I have? And personally, when I looked at all of those things and took accountability, I thought I understood self-love, but I understood it a lot better from that standpoint after I cleared away some issues that I've had personally. And then I can appreciate myself even when I'm not doing something that I'm proud of. I'm still like, oh, okay. I can kind of laugh it off versus judging myself like, oh, why did I do that? I'm so stupid and all of that. So it's
yes, I love that. I love that so much. And there are tools so I love doing inner child work. I love
mm,
it. I love the person, and I see people as big children.
mm,
And I see people, I also see people, like I can see where all their dreams are fulfilled, where their wishes are
mm,
granted. I can see their true essence because I'm there. I'm there. I can see
mm,
who they really are. And when you start emitting your own frequency, you start asking those people to show you those things. Like I could go to the grocery store and see the grouchiest person come through her line and say, "Hey, how you doing, Tina? Haven't seen you in so long. Oh, you've been at work for a while. Oh, Aundrea, it's so good to see you. Oh, I got you a coffee," and my kids will go around and give them a hug. There's this one lady that we always go through, and we'll go, my kids and I will go through the grocery, we'll look to see who's like the most serious, and I'll go, let's go to her line. And then we'll start like joking around and do stuff, not stuff where it's annoying or whatever, and just we'll say, who can put a smile on this person's face right now? And we make a game of it. Like it's not anything but where do you get this? So how are you feeling right now? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling because we're always, joyful and going around the store, and I even let my little kids pick out, certain things that are good for them, or, little treats and stuff like that, and they have their freedom. And then they bring that to, the cashier or whatever that it is. So I see the child, and the reason that I say that I see the child is because there's these techniques that you can use, just like you
mm,
said, to be able to access where we got the enmeshment of our mom, of the authority figure, of the dad, of the family member, of the cousin, of a mate. And usually that happens within, the first in your mother's womb, past life, all the way to 7 years old. Right? So
mm,
if you once, but see, this is the thing, you have to start doing some intuitive work and bringing yourself present so that you can start feeling where these things are in the body, right? Because this is where the real
mm,
healing this is where the healing begins. But you can start somewhere. Okay, so I am really, really not feeling worthy, or I'm feeling like this person does not see me. They don't see my worth. They don't know who I am. And I just am so genuine, and I don't understand why they can't honor me and my worth. Okay. Whoa, I feel that in my gut. Ooh, that doesn't, and you don't have to say it to that person, but you own it, like you were saying, my dear. We're
Mhm.
gonna play with each other here. Let's like, yeah, we don't need to say a whole lot to them. We can own it, our responsibility for that reaction first. And okay, whoa, was that me or was that them? Oh, that was definitely me. I feel this in my gut.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And guess what, Gypsy? You know what? It doesn't even matter. Even if it is that other person and it is theirs and you feel it in your own body, you still need to clear it.
Yep.
You still need to clear it. Boom. Okay. So when I was 3 years old, I got this from mom. She was working her butt off. She was at the house. She really wanted to go do her career and all this other stuff, and she couldn't. She had to take care of me. And I felt so bad. And she didn't feel worthy, like she could do her dreams. And I try to start caretaking. You will get little hits. And it doesn't even have to be. The deeper you go into the pain and you look at it to be illuminated, you work with light. Of course, you work with your light, the star, the sun. You do a little meditation for yourself. Okay. 4 years old, mom. 3 years old, mom. Where I started feeling unworthy. I clear and transmute it through all time, dimension, space, and reality, or I clear, cancel, delete, go in deeper. Is there anything else there? Ooh, I feel it go there. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in some light. I'm going to ask the light from our sun. Where do I see the most light on our earth? Okay, I'm keeping this real simple. Like we know
Mm.
how to connect to light, like you and like, but I want to do this for the people that are spiritual and also people that are not, that might happen by.
Yep.
Okay, what do we know that's tangible that gives our earth in the presence now the most light, the most life, and that we couldn't exist without it? It would be the sun. Well, us spiritual people know what's inside the sun. We know that the sun is a portal to all the other suns. We know how much a luminary, we know that it goes into the universe. That universe is within us. We know that those universes are within us, and the farther that we go into ourselves, all that universal wisdom, guess what? It's inside of us. It's who we are. But maybe for somebody that's first transmuting, they need some light to bring into the body. They can feel it. They can feel it on their face. They can sense it. They know that it gives life. Take that metaphor, take that reality, and bring it into your body. Okay, boom, there's the sun. Okay, let's bring the sunlight all the way down into our body. Anything, and everything that is not loving, even attuned to love, or that is greater than that, is not allowed to come along with into the crown. Ask to be able to hear, to be able to see the truth, bring it all the way in through the body, the nervous systems, the muscles, the heart, the organs, the cells, all the way down, sexual center, buttocks, hips, legs, all the way down. And do we have a core of an earth? We sure do. It keeps it turning, doesn't it? We know it's molten and fire and everything else. We know the science of it somewhat. Us as spiritual people, woo, we know when we go down, we know that, well, and just in general, we know that the top layer of the earth, for the most part, is very, very sacred. And a lot of it fertilizes and it feeds us and it does all this. And we go down even further. We've got the minerals, we've got, we've got the clay, we've got the crystals, we've got the molten, we've got the interdimensional beings and more interdimensional beings that connect us all to the rest of the universe and keep it in balance. We go further all the way down to the core in this molten and this beautiful crystalline, alive energy that is it's beyond anything we can even imagine. Its support and its love and its power of manifestation and regeneration and sustainability and mother's love. Amplified, father's love, everything, divine, masculine, feminine. We know this, right? We know this as spiritual
Mhm.
beings. Boom, we ask for the earth to support us. Guess what? Not woo woo. Why? Doesn't she do it already? Where do we get our food? Ooh, yum 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 yum. Mother Earth. Where do we get our shelter? Ooh, zip zip zip. Mother Earth.
Right.
Right? Where do we get our where do we get, the bunny rabbits and, and our beloved dogs and horses and cats and
Or
okay, life, it
oxygen.
supports life. Oxygen to breathe. Thank you, girl. Water.
Right.
Okay, water. Ooh, so we bring this supportive, loving, life-giving. Oh my God, anything that you want to bring into this life. that comes from your true, authentic self, your true core. What's my truth? Look inside. Keep on asking. So now you're connected from our whether you're spiritual or you're not, from the sun, whether it is metaphorical or you're still in your brain, or you're super spiritual and you go all the way in, and we know the worlds within the worlds. We understand Mother Earth. We understand the aliens, the multidimensionality, the intergalactic, the outer galactic, whatever you want to choose. This is how I work with people. I go to all the creative centers, depending on where a person is at. I'm trying to do that here. And we're bringing that into our body. Okay. And that it doesn't take that long. It's only taking that long right now because I'm trying to explain over, different people, your different listeners, right? Okay, so now we're connected to the sun, we're connected to the middle of the earth, or we can even find the sun that's within us, and we're going to expand that sun within our solar plexus. We're going to turn it all on. We're going to turn on the solar plexus. We're going to turn on our power. We're going to turn on our empowerment. We're going to turn on our heart. We're going to ask our heart to be the navigation system. We're going to ask it to be the commanding center. We're going to ask it to lead us well. We're going to ask it to be able to inspire the mind so we don't have to be motivated to do shit. That we are inspired from the mind, that we are seeing. You know why? Because we just are seeing ourselves. We're bringing in the illumination, whether it's from above, below, in, and let's connect all of those. Okay, where am I still feeling this? I'm feeling it in my gut. Okay, I'm going to bring everything that I just channeled, everything, sun, the below the earth, or if you just want to do the internal stuff because you don't want to go above, or you don't want to go with what already exists, that's okay too. It's just the inspiration. It's the inspiration. Boom, your heart. Ba-boom, ba-boom, take breaths, feel your heart, know you're alive, go into that internal space. 4 years old, mom, 3 years old, mom. Boom, my unworthiness. I clear and transmute it with this light through all time, dimension, space, and reality. Feel it release, relax, shake it off, stay still. Do whatever that your body inspires you to do to be able to clear this. And then if any other negative, I really suggest that people get a list of negative emotions that they get out of the dictionary. You can get it online, I'm sure, and do all that stuff, and number them and put in your mind, what number is it? 342. Boom. 342. Okay. Oh, that is what it is. Holy moly. Write it down if you want to, or just say I clear and transmute anywhere that I'm not seen. Clear and transmute. Clear, 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 transmute through all time, dimension, space, and reality. Okay, starting to feel lighter, starting to feel good. Woo, okay. What would be filled in with worthiness? Value. What's the opposite? What's a positive emotion? Positive emotion is being seen. It is being worth. It is value. It is love. It is prosperous. It's whatever that you want. Whatever it is. And again, you get your positive emotion list, boom, number it out. Use a pendulum. If you know how to use a pendulum, we show people how to do that too. Use a pendulum to find out what that is, and then you fill in with the positive emotions. And then boom, wow, that's lighter. And then you see, you've just changed your whole timeline. You haven't just changed the problem right now and everything else. You've just changed your past. You've changed your right now and your future, and you just jump timelines. Everything around worthiness is now clearer. Now, why wouldn't people believe that? Because they've been looking for answers. It can't be that simple. It can't be do that. Well, why can't it? You just brought everything into your interior. You just asked yourself questions about where this was coming from. Where did you get it? And you're giving yourself somewhere to go. Then, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or I'm just going to forget about this. I'm going to put it under the rug, or I'm going to make sure that I don't do this. You know what I mean? Like, no, that doesn't work. I'm going to motivate myself and exercise myself and eat really good to death, or not to death. Okay. Hey, we'll even go as far as like even the fast food restaurants need love. You can get so far, Gypsy, that you can, like, we already know that water can be inspired by our vibration, right? We know that what changes. Yes. It's not woo woo. It's not anything that's spiritual. It just is. We've scientifically proved it, right? Okay. Inspire your water. Inspire the food you eat, even if it's the worst food or you don't feel good about it. Number one, stop judging it. You're going to eat it anyways. Okay, this is going to be really good. Just love it. Just put some love on it. And guess what? When you love on that KFC or you love on that fast food, guess what happens? It's like a bing. It's like a ripple. You just loved that. Ooh, you're working in a corporate job, but Aundrea, I'm not doing what I love. Are you in the corporate job? Yep. Can you find some love there? Yep, maybe. I don't know. Well, ask yourself, how can I bring my true self, authentic self, to feel better at work, to enlighten myself? What can I bring and value in myself and value in other people? How can I see the best in people and make it feel and know that it's real, so it feels like the truth to them too? Because we all have a truth barometer. We know when somebody's bullshitting us and when they're not. How can I be more real? How can I be more loving, more genuine? Because you've already been asking these questions to yourself, right? So you
Mhm.
come to work, you're more loving, you're more aware, you're more conscious. Maybe you bless your water in front of people and they might think it's weird. And then you send them a little thing saying, hey, did you see this? Why is that weird? Why is it weirder for us to be ourselves and to inspire and use our power to inspire and to create our world? You know why? Because the system likes us. They like us as little pods. They like these things to happen. They like, if you're not working for yourself, and I'm not talking about you, Gypsy, but everything else, if you're not working yourself and you're not clear about things and things like that, if you're generally happy and pretty blissful and you don't really care one way or the other, and you're just, that's the way you're born, or a lot of people, some people are just that way, probably not. They're, that's the way they came in. It's okay. It's all good.
Mhm.
And there are people like that. I've known quite a few of them, and I'm like, wow, you're just awesome. And they play, and we play together. That wasn't my journey this time around. I had to do a lot of work. And now but I know when the stuff comes in, I know I've got processes. I've got my intuition. I can see the truth. I know when somebody's lying to me. I know when somebody's miscommunicating, because how can I expect them and get mad at them when they can't even see them themselves? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pay attention to that, and I'm going to bring more of that in front of me, because I'm judging, or even if I'm not judging, I'm giving it attention. Guess what? Naively, when we give something attention into somebody else and we think we're being self-righteous about it because, oh, we don't have that, or we're healed from it, but you're giving it attention to the other person, you're actually feeding it.
Mhm.
But if you can stop and look at the person and say, that's just their story, it's all good, because you're in love, you're in the place of self-love, you have compassion, you see their possibilities, and you're quiet, or you know how to handle it, or you ask, how can I, if you want to, you don't have to help anybody. You can do this without saying a dang thing, because you're emitting your own frequency and wanting that best thing for people. You don't have to interject in their life, especially if they're not open to it. You can say, I would like to speak to this person. It would be wonderful. But the next opportunity that I have with them, spirit, their spirit too, you can talk to them without them even knowing, because you can see what they really want, what the possibilities are there. And you can probably sense if they can hear it or not. Listen to your intuition and ask, what is the best way that I can honor that person and myself in this situation where they can hear? And
Mhm.
where's their joy? Where's their laughter? Where's their happiness? Oh, I see it. Smile. You might be smiling in front of them, but the person knows you're not really laughing at them because you're soft, or you're whatever that you need to be at that. You're not doing it for the other person. You're doing
Mhm.
it for you. It's really, you're doing it for you because you want to collaborate with people. You want to have a happier life. You want to have people more pleasant, and you don't want to naively or unconsciously feed the junk. Yeah.
Um, we talked a lot about intuition, and that's something I personally worked on strengthening over the last few years. But I've had someone that's not in, maybe new to spirituality, and asked me, what is intuition? And it was really hard to explain. Can you talk a little bit more about intuition and how you strengthen your intuitive abilities?
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it the whole time, for sure. Asking the questions. Your intuition is who you were when you came in. It's when your whole, your love, your values, and you know your values. Your intuition is where you're clairvoyant. When your world is inside, you remember the world and your insides. You see the oneness. You see where you are and where the world is. You jump on the timeline, and you collaborate with the best of things. Your intuition is where you just know, and you trust yourself, and you pay attention, and you cultivate this world that is within fearlessly, truthfully, trusting. You want to know something about somebody, you can access. If you want to see a sickness, you can scan. You want to know about the ETs and the worlds and the universes without, look within. You want to be able to see spirits. You want to be able to see you want to be able to talk to dead people or the angels or whatever, it's within. You open up your own voice. You open up your divine, your God existence, the universal wisdom. You learn how to be the creator truly in your own reality. Your intuition also lets you, and it's directly connected with your mind, heart, and body. It's not just your heart. It's a harmonic. It's a music. It's the music of your soul. And if you don't develop it, nobody cares about. Nobody cares about if they're not working on, or I shouldn't say that. If another person in your life, how can I put this? All right, Spirit. You have confidence when you are intuitive, and it's not arrogance. You are stable and fearless and committed to create from your interior, and you can see false belief systems that are in front of you. And those false belief systems, and then we're talking about deep intuition. Everybody still has intuition on different layers, but I'm talking about the deep work. You can be in the presence of war, you can be in the presence of all these different things, and you still can see solutions because you're not swept away by the emotional chaos and the chaos that is around you. You learn how to interiorly be able to create and collaborate with the things that match you, that are able to, the positive momentum really starts to pick up in your life, so you can move around obstacles, more effortlessly, because your intuition is open. When you become very intuitive, you have discernment. You have better discernment. When you're intuitive and you have integrity with intuition, you know what to say to people and how far to take them. You don't want to take them too far because you don't want to actually digress somebody. Just because you have intuition and you can see everything in somebody, they might not be ready to hear it. If they can't hear it themselves, you might be able to help them guide to it. And if not, just like we were talking about before, you give them a blessing silently, or you give them a blessing ball, put them in a ball of light between your hands, or you in your mind's eye, or within your heart, and you put them outside yourself, and you put in there and you reinforce all the things that you observe about them that are lovely, and then you send it off. Boom. That's it. That way your intention just became stronger. Your inspiration and your intention becomes stronger than what people's ill intentions might be towards you. I would not be able to be on a platform and work with thousands of people and growing and doing all the stuff. This is very important to be able to do before you put your presence in front of people, and because you have to have that strength, because not everybody is into this. Not everybody loves it. And I really don't care.
Yeah. When
Right.
you're connecting with spirit guides and opening up to channeling, how do you, discern between like a lower vibrational or a higher vibrational energy that's coming through and being able to
I love it.
trust what's coming in?
Hmm. I love it. I love you're asking me this question. I've had some pretty rigorous training in my life, right?
Mm,
So I don't look at archangels and all that other spirits and stuff. I think that it's perceptions, and I think it's perceived, and that we're actually connecting with different parts of ourselves. But you have
mm,
to have an intention. It's like hygiene with anything else. And okay, so the best way, the easiest answer is to this: when you send and you're asking to connect within the light. I love the concept with our sun and
mm,
seeing a portal within the sun to connect to all the other suns, because it's pure light and it's pure wisdom. Okay. The first thing is, so we got the pure light. When you ask for everything that's only attuned to love, and whatever frequency is above that, and stuff that you still want to learn about love and bliss and pleasure and fun and funny. And when you're connecting, you can't to be able to connect with it and then be able now connect with it. Allow it to go deep, sense it within the body. And if you feel warmth or if you feel love back, you've connected at a good point. If it feels heavy, if it feels like it's hard to break through, if it's in the mind and it's indecisive, ask some more questions. Ask to clear some stuff. Ask to, what block is this? Who are you? They might lie, but feel it in your body when you're intuitive in your awareness. So the body is the dream of the soul. Boom, turn it on, turn that warmth on. Want to connect with anything that is attuned to love, or not anything. Say you want to connect with an angel or yourself or your higher self or your galactic self or whatever that you could make it up. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Or you want clarity. I want the wisdom of Tesla. I want wisdom of Jesus Christ. I want and a lot of times with those consciousness, those men or those women that lived before, including Jesus, the man, he was a man, he was just elevated. We might have lost some people there. But anyways, if you want to connect to these masters, you can. A lot of times they're already stretched out, or if they came back in another life, it's not like what we think it is. You're going to like this tidbit. You're going to like this tidbit. It's a lot of times consciousnesses don't come in the same consciousness. Sometimes they can come from another collective consciousness into another body, but you can still access the wisdom. So instead of asking even for the particular person, ask for the wisdom and where they got the highest genius and wisdom and where they got this, and that you would like your own authentic value and connection that resonates with your highest love frequency inside your body, and be able to share that with other people. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. You mentioned
I'm cracking
you're also
myself up. Sorry.
no worries. And sometimes I think of questions while you're talking and I forget about it later on, but we'll keep going.
Yeah.
So you're also a medium, which is something I haven't had any experiences with, but what are the benefits of going to a medium besides,
So
getting information?
yeah, I don't know. I think that medium got interjected in there. I don't like the word medium. I think that my producer I think he interjected the word medium because that's what people think a lot of the intuition. I honestly, it's just for me, it's intuition and connecting with the divine and the universal wisdom. That is what I do, and then being able to bring that forth in a true sense or in a real nature, so that I can enjoy life. The mediumship is just something for me. I don't go into people, so I will answer this. I guess it would be a medium. So a medium is only as good as where they have been. A medium can only access your timeline of where their frequency is. So I would be very, very, so if you are, again, it's the same thing. These are all, it's kind of parlaying. I love it. So when you're accessing love and above, or you're accessing attuned to love, or you're accessing these things and you're feeling this warmth in your body, and that means that you're now in an expansive state. You're ready to expand. You're ready to have some wisdom. You're ready to take on the day. You're ready to invite joy into your life. You're the good connections, the collaborations, the fun, or even when you bump up to things, that you have the possibilities there. Or you can look at the contrast and say, whoa, oh, okay, all right, what do I need to see in this that could help me out? And wow, how could I be more in integrity? Or how can I love on this particular interaction? Or you're on a piece of land that doesn't feel very well. How can I elevate this? Usually I just step on the land and that happens, but you can ask these questions. So in mediumship, if somebody has a lot of trauma still, but they're still clairvoyant, or they might be able to see, and then they see you. We all have different timelines and different things where we're on our life. And you attract that medium maybe when you're looking for a lot of answers or maybe
Mm,
feeling desperate. Sometimes they can help you if they're elevated. But like I said, they can only give you advice, or they can
mm,
only see into a timeline to where their frequency is. So you might have be trying to get out of something, and they see where you are, and then they tell you the future and reinforce a future that you're not really wanting.
mm,
Or if you have one that's more elevated or that can help you, which for me personally, my integrity is I ask for the truth. I asked for clarity. I ask for their own intuition and their own clairvoyant wholeness, their health to be realized.
mm.
And I act from that point because nobody, you think about it, right, Gypsy? You think about it. If we're not getting that answer truly, we know when we get those hits. When we don't get, that's what I want to lead people to, is those hits where you, oh, whoa, and you see the whole world in a difference. It's just like ceremony every single day. You can have ceremony every single day with yourself and blow your own mind in a good way, expand your own mind. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and actually, I think I had a different. I mean, most people, when you think medium, you're like, okay, somebody who talks to dead people. But the way you explained it, um, is more of um kind of looking into your own timeline and past lives and things like that, which I didn't know was considered a medium. So that's just.
Well, no, it's where you are. It's like it's being able to see the person. So it's just the same thing as we were talking about before. I
Mm,
can come to somebody along the street or a friend and see that they're down. And what am I going to participate with them? It's no different than just an interaction and a physical interaction that is not mediumship. You
mm,
see what I mean? So I'm talking to the person and they start gossiping, and then I get in on the gossip, and then we're vomiting gossiping together, and then we're both feeling down or we're feeling self-righteous, and then that gets us more into the patterns, and then there we go. It's not any different than somebody that is more intuitive than another person.
mm,
When you're intuitive, you start going into that other thing and you go into the problem, and you're paying attention to the problem and telling them their future on that timeline only where the medium is. It has nothing to, it has everything to do with the medium and the frequency where you're meeting that person. But if
mm,
you're always open, so what I do is not that. It's not any, it doesn't, so what I do as an intuitive is that I am very neutral. I'm open. And when I do,
mm,
and I talk with people and I channel things, I move my Aundrea personality out of the way, and I ask to be light. I ask to be crystalline. I ask for the truth. I ask for whatever this person, and how, and only come through me in a way that this person can hear, and it happens. Or what childhood trauma do we need to do? I see when you were, 6 years old, you got this from dad. How does that feel in your body? And then boom, they'll come up with a memory, and there it is. Can't make the stuff up. And then we're clearing it, and then it's out of their body. So for
sounds.
me, it's not about judgment. You got to be in that neutral, open space so you can see. If you have preconceived notions, and even having your own experiences when you're working with a client or somebody that you love, when you're trying to elevate, it's always possible to be in a more expansive place, and a discovery place, and a creative place to keep life moving and opening.
We've talked a lot about like transmuting negative energy or clearing energies, which, you know, if someone has done a lot of self-development work, they can understand that. But for someone who hasn't, it sounds easier than it is. It's just like, oh, you just get, because you get with some of like guilt and anger, you get stuck there sometimes. And how
You
do
gotta
you,
transmute it. That's an emotion. So when was the first time that where am I feeling this in my body? Guilt. Oh, bang, right in the solar plexus, takes my power out, siphons my power, makes me feel depressed, makes me feel tired. Why do I always feel guilty about this? So when was the first time that I felt guilty? Ooh, I'm here in past life. for our
Mm-hmm.
audience, whatever this is, past life. Okay, we won't go too woo-woo there, but it could be past life or guilty. 6 years old, feeling guilty. Oh, I went and I got the chair. I got the chair and I saw all that chocolate on that top of that the cupboard above the refrigerator. This is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing in my mind's eye. It's not me. This is something I'm seeing. And boy, oh boy, I went up there and there was also a bottle of wine up there. And I pulled the chocolate and the bottle of wine fell, ba-boom, and it hit the ground. And my mom coming in, what? You already felt guilty because you were getting the chocolate, and now that the wine spilled everywhere, and now it's mom's too, and she's not doing so good, and oh my gosh, you feel so guilty. And she comes in and she hurts her foot, and she makes her foot come wide open, or her whole foot. It
Mm-hmm.
starts bleeding everywhere because now you feel even more guilty. Oh my gosh, I
Mm-hmm.
should have listened to mom. I should have told what she was doing. And you're just being a kid. You saw some chocolate. It was innocent and all this other stuff. So that's the first time that you were introduced to what guilt was. Okay, so when I was that age and I got this from mom, you don't have to go through every single solitary time. That's where that first it was known by you, that it came into your body, that you experienced what this emotion was. You learned about this emotion. As fast as you learned it, you can unlearn it. You can clear it. I don't care what anybody, we are this powerful. If we're powerful enough to take it in, we're powerful enough to take it out to the root and pull it all the way out through our life and change our timeline. And the reason I say that is because 5 years ago, Gypsy, I couldn't even remember my childhood. Or no, I'm sorry, 10 years ago, I couldn't even remember my childhood very much. And the more and more that I'm clearing these things, I see myself when I was a child and who I really was. Beautiful. And the innocence and the beauty and the heart and the love and the way that I came in. 10 years ago, I couldn't see it like that. I just saw childhood trauma. I saw somebody that was a people pleaser and codependency.
Mm-hmm.
Even further, but behind that, I might have been blaming mom and dad for my problems and been in
Mm-hmm.
victimhood. So we progress. Yes, it's a progression, but you don't have, it doesn't have to be that tedious. It only has to be as tedious as that we believe, I'm not believe, that we have the power to understand ourselves, but be able to put power in it. So at that age, that's when I got the guilt from mom. I'm going to go ahead and feel that boom in my solar plexus. I might feel it in my right foot, feeling it in people's right foot and on the top of it, interestingly enough. Sciatica pain, I'm feeling that in people, maybe your audience. Oh, back of the neck that goes into the ox right up here. And also I'm seeing different neurons firing and wiring in people's things. That it's been a huge, a big one. Okay, so let's clear and transmute it throughout time. You're bringing in light from the sun. You're bringing light from down below. You're going to any parts of the body where you're feeling it. You're seeing it. You're sensing it. You might be feeling sick. You might be yawning a lot. You might be crying. You might have tears. You might want to stretch and like run out of the room really quick. Just feel it. Feel it for a moment. Clearing and transmuting through all time, dimension, space, and reality at ages 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All the even numbers, huh? 13, 19, 24, 22. Clear, transmute through all time, dimension, space, and reality for those people of past lives. Clear and transmute all guilt, death, and guilt. Oof. Clear and transmute through all time, dimension, space, and reality. So what happens is, gypsies, I go into a ceremonial space, like what they would call ayahuasca space or whatever. I don't need ayahuasca anymore. I did, I did my time. I did my time at a very young age and studied with many tribes. And so this is also something that I did because this is my mission. This is not something where I'm at. I don't expect people to get there tomorrow. That's not it. Listen, I spent a lot of years in the jungle in isolation. I spent
Mm-hmm.
times with chiefs and leaders and CEOs. Of course, these are the people that I learned from a lot. And they made me go back inside. They weren't going to give me the answers all the time. I went to deep ceremony and they just held presence and an illuminated light so that I could navigate within. It's very, very important wherever you want. And that's not any more important than somebody that's at a corporate job that's wanting to make a change. It's not any more important than the surfer that is, getting all the titles and showing people to live life free and pleasurable and to be connected to the elements. Everybody has their value. Everybody has their life force to give to the world. And they're not, and as they give it, when you come from this intuitive, real place, you actually get amplified. You amplify your vitality. It runs like the blood in your veins, clearing and transmuting through all time, dimensions, space, and ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-ba-boom. Okay, now so I was just waiting. I needed to do a little distraction there in the mind, behind the third eye, and within the neurons, any guilty feelings that are connected. Boom, boom, boom. And let's go ahead and fill in with expansiveness. Potency. 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 Potency of the clarity and the truth. Potency. What would it take to completely endear ourselves, to feel that and replace all the guilt that we just cleared with charm, enchantment, that I win, that I'm delightful, I'm captivating, I move forward with ease, that I speak easily, forward movement, that forward movement and the ability to be able to, I keep on seeing somebody moving and moving and moving and starting to run, and then there's zip, like the little cartoon character my little kids watch sometimes, Sonic. He goes really super fast, and it like leaves like like to like, that's like, it's like a rubber band. Once you get rid of the guilt of everything, it just goes and then just moves you like right through life forward. So we didn't really do the meditation, and in a way we kind of were all over the place, but it's that powerful. If we have the ability to download these things, or to be able to take these songs, we have that ability in our, like I said, when we are connected to the divine and who we are with clarity and truth and love and unconditional love, we're emitting our own frequency and our unique signature, then you become more powerful than a million people that are not. And what that just really means is that all those million of people that used to influence every single move and things that you made throughout your life no longer have the power over you anymore. You've gotten all your keys back. You've cleaned your keys. You've put them back in parts of your body, your power, your enthrallment, your vitality, whatever that it is. And you've reclaimed, and it's not really reclaimed, you regenerated and expanded into the new version of who you are.
And it's not that you won't feel these, anger or guilt again. I guess when you do feel it, you can transmute it a lot easier. It comes in and out versus being stuck there.
What happens is you become neutral about it. When you really know that you've cleared something, when the guilt, you do feel it, but it's not the same way. When you've really cleared something, guilt does not affect you in the same way that it ever did before. It's not the same. It's not the same. And you know how to clear different layers of it. Like if it's different layer, but it's not debilitating, or it's not, you get more neutral. Like when we're talking about mastering your emotions, they're supposed to be elevated. You elevate your emotions. You have more mastery over your emotions because you have a practice, and things become lighter. Now, people see, this is Gypsy. This is what I see. I start seeing people, and people don't believe, they believe that they have to have guilt, shame, and all these negative feelings in order to feel alive, or that they need for that duality to come in. You express in the way that you look at the duality. And so the curanderos, or the best, so curandero, medicine woman, healer, whatever you want to call me. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I've been studying with the Amazon people. I was watched over the tribe for years and years and years. I didn't study. I didn't do any ceremonies with other people. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the jungle. I wanted to be away from people. I've been in isolation my whole entire life. This is very for me, because I was empathic, this is not out of self-righteousness. I want to be very clear about this. Was because I was so empathic that that was the only way that I could get away for a long enough period of time to be able to discern who I was and what to go through. Most people don't have to do that. They don't have to do a whole lot of, this was my mission. This was my story. This is my impact along the world. So I'm able to see the range from the dark to light. I am no stranger to the light and guilt and the stories that we tell ourselves to disempower ourselves, or to be able to have the collective negative emotions convince us that they have to be there in order to exist, to feed on us. You become more neutral. The negative emotions do not affect you in the same way. If people want to believe that they have to have those negative emotions in order to expand, there's better ways to expand. You can drop the inner critic, the victimhood, the predatory behavior. You can learn how to be more light, more joyful, more pleasure, more laughter, more love, more possibilities. What is it going to take? What would it take to see more possibilities in this moment? What would it take that the spiritual people that are spiritual don't have to look? So if somebody is looking at me right now, like, oh, who does she think she is? And what does she think she, blah, blah, blah. Would you do that to, like, would people do that to an elder? Would that, they're actually feeding that inside of themselves and vomiting it out to other people. So if somebody looks at me as that I just talked about me being in the jungle, it was not self-righteous. That's not where I came from. I'm sorry if that triggered people into thinking that or feeling that. Since when is it disempowering for a woman to come that has a lot of experience with the inner world and has helped save the lives of a lot of people back to themselves, to save themselves? Why can't we talk about that? It's much easier to talk about the things that we can't do and that we've got to go into guilt and shame and pain and all that other stuff because it wants us. That's what we got to break. That's what we have to be able to discern. This is what my elders used to do to me. A podcast, or if I'd be talking to them, or if I do a behavior that I thought that was cute and doing stuff, and then they illuminated, that made me feel very uncomfortable. And I would have to go back and I would cry, or I'd be like, oh my God. Or if I wasn't on this path, I might start gossiping about that person or saying that they don't know what they're doing or whatever. When you come from love, you want to always find some collaboration or a neutral point, or maybe that person's not in your life, but you forgive, or you send them off, and you get to a point in yourself, hopefully, where you find the neutrality, you find the love. Yeah. There's just no excuses. There's just no excuses for the duality, my dear. It's not necessary for our evolution.
I was going to say, and when you get to where you are, you can probably, when you see someone, you can see the full potential. You can see, like you said, someone's shadow or whatever the issue is. So it's a lot easier to be more compassionate for everyone.
Yeah, but sometimes the compassion comes in like pulling the covers, but you have to kind of play with that, because you don't want to pull them too hard where the person, you want the person to be able to reflect, but and this is where, like, you hear in the Amazon darts, or you hear witchcraft, or some of these other things. These are people that are looking at that point and have to justify it something and feel like they need to teach that person a lesson through whatever that is. And okay, so that other person, you're saying that other person that is enlightened, or that person that's intuitive, or like yourself, Gypsy, like anything that you hear today that might have triggered you, I have nothing but total confidence that you will go out of this and go, wow, oh, that's what she meant, or oh my God, that was so cool, or whoa, I wasn't ready for that. But you know how to go into those places, and yeah. And the more that I see that in you, or I see that in a client, guess what? I'm feeding that. That's what I want to feed, empowerment. Else I look like the total ass. What am I doing here talking about Vitality Unleashed? What am I doing here talking about empowerment and stuff here? I think that I've given a lot, and I feel like I've given a lot on this podcast by being completely open and neutral and being able to do that. And I hope that that's what people choose to be able to see and inside themselves. And I am just very, how can I say it? I just am who I am. I just am who I am, and here I am. I'm not trying to filter to look good over here, or maybe I made a mistake in my words over here. It's okay. It's all good. It's okay. Woohoo! It's all right. I can laugh at myself. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I bet 5 people saw it that way and start laughing on my belly and say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it next time. Thank you for letting me hear my own voice, see my funny face. You know what I mean? I can do this lightly. I might feel a little bit of a tinge, but it's not the tinge that I felt when I was rebellious and in my 20s, and I didn't have any tools for elevating my emotions, my consciousness to expand. I didn't have any of that because we're not in a society yet. Yet. People like me are bringing this forth, our curanderos, our shamans, our medicine people, our leaders, our people that are just themselves, and they don't want to be in front of everybody, that they're just doing their own thing, and they want to be playful and step their foot over on this country and do this, or maybe they want to go to the clubs and talk to people, and they're so neutral. They're everywhere, Gypsy. Yes. 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 Right.
Yeah.
Everywhere, stepping their foot, illuminating where they're at and knowing, and they don't have to know. The better and better you get at this, you don't have to know what is going on and what everybody's doing and everybody's saying, because you know that you're emitting a frequency that brings you joy, that brings you happiness, and you're transmuting and you're watching it in front of your face. And it really doesn't matter because you're not giving so much attention to what is all not working. You're seeing more of what is working and the possibilities. And that's where you stand. And if you hiccup somewhere, you go, okay, let's clear and transmute that. Or, oh, okay, I still got some of that. That was pretty funny. All right, where's this coming from? And you use the same tools or more elevated or, whatever. I will say this last thing before I go into here, why I still have a bead on it. I would very highly recommend people when they're doing this kind of practice, or when they're starting to learn about their intuition and they want to be open and they want to share just who they are. It doesn't have to be as openly as, what I'm doing. I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's my calling to speak. But when you're doing this, stick with a few modalities or one and master that and know that it's working for you before you go over here and you're going to the jungle, you're doing Reiki, you're going over here, you're Buddha, you're this. All these different modalities will make people crazy. They will make them crazy, or they will not do the things fully, or they say this spirituality stuff is not working. This inner reflection is not working. If you just do a few tools that I just put on here today, ask about love, start asking yourself questions, make a meditation for yourself, go on the modules because they have you go inside. That's enough. Master the unconditional love. Do it for 6 weeks. You'll see such a big difference in your consciousness and the way you view things. You do it for a year, guess what? You're not asking yourself about unconditional love and love anymore. You have the answers because you've been asking, and it gets more, and it gets more rich and expansive and abundant, and you start seeing it everywhere. So it just becomes, you don't have to ask yourself anymore because it becomes more and more, and you see the beauty around you, and then pretty soon you're living in a great place and you have great relationships, and you're teaching your kids, and you're an example in the community, and you're smiling and laughing, and you don't really care if you're an example in the community or that you're changing the world and everything else, because you're just being you, and you're having a little bit of fun and joy and bliss, and you're having pleasure. Yum, yum, yum. The better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of, spirituality is something that's not like in this practical world. People feel like, oh, it's something I'll get to, instead of doing, more important things, or what they feel is more important. But a lot of the stuff we talk about and a lot of spirituality development is self-development work. A lot of these things will help you with your day-to-day, with your career, taking more inspired action, being more creative. So it does affect your regular day-to-day, and it helps to be more, developed.
Yum. Girl, I love that. I love that so much. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to look this way. Like, I'm pretty
Right.
extreme. This is what I came at. Like, I've been planning this a few lifetimes. Like I've been conscious. I can see back where I've been planning this to move forward. There's not a whole lot of, separation from what's happening and where I'm going. And it's wonderful. It's great. But even if it's as simple as somebody wanting to be a bodybuilder, and they are not spirituality. What does that mean? I meet a lot of people, and I was very physical when I was younger and stuff. But once people are really physical, I don't know what it is, but something happens where they get really into their mind, and they mind in the body, and oh yeah, and
Yeah.
oh, and it's all this other stuff, and they think of like mind, it's mind over matter, and like all this other stuff. Okay, well that's great. All right, cool. But the mind can only go so much. It only has so much power. It has a lot. It does, but it's got to be in coherence with the spirit and with your realness, where the power is, with that universal wisdom. Would you rather just get like what you have in your body and use that 10% in your brain, and with your body 10%? And yeah, you're getting pretty big muscles over that period of, I don't know, 12 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. But get intuitive about it, get spiritual about it, connect with your highest self, start dancing and feeling sexy and flexible, and watch things manifest really fast. And when you're lifting that weight, you feel your spirit, you feel the muscle, you feel the infusion of your energy and your vitality going towards that muscle. You're even saying, hello, dumbbell, get on up here. All of a sudden, you're stronger, and you get results that usually took you 3 months and 3 weeks. If that's what it takes to get there, to get vitality and connect to yourself and your intuition and the worlds within worlds, it's worth it.
Yeah. I've actually
Because there,
felt that when I'm working out, and I've tried it, putting awareness to like exactly what muscle I'm working out, and it feels different. It's than just not, being in your music or watching something and working out and just being in the motion, versus like actually
yeah.
paying attention and being aware of the exact movement and everything. It really does change the game a little bit.
It changes it a lot.
Yeah.
The further in that you go, and the more, that's how Olympic, like a lot of the Olympic, they get in the zone. It's just not mental. And I've worked with a lot of people and elevated them to the next level, or when they're not at their top peak performance, they need to take that energy and put it into something else in their life that makes them feel passionate. And now they've been really good about something, or they got silver or gold in something or whatever. And they had so much thought, so much energy going into this particular thing, now that they need to move it into something else. And I'm able to help them and show them on how to or give them ideas on how they can do that. But it's absolutely, it's with sex. Oh my God. Like not like conscious or drunken sex or what. Oh, is it kind of fun? But oh my God, when you are tuned and tapped in and spiritual, and the other person's flowing, and you're telepathic, and you know what the other person wants, and you're flowing and you're going, and there's no drunken sex that can even touch conscious sex.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's everything. Your relationship with your children, and seeing them for who they really are, and sensing what they really need and who they are, and hands off sometimes, or trusting that they know themselves, and trusting in them so much that they trust themselves, and then they self-regulate, and they do all these other things, and pushing them to learn what's on the outside, and what they should do, and how they should go to school, and what they need to become, and all this other stuff, instead of organically letting them do it themselves. Like spirituality, and when you connect spirituality, intuition, okay, your intuition, knowing who you are, as you go inside and you know who you are, without.
Yeah.
Meaning, other people, what they need more, you feel more comfortable, you are more comfortable, you create that safety, you create that space that people can feel love, to feel themselves, to let things out, transmute stuff. Gypsy, I have a funny story. There was a paranormal place that I was doing an interview on, and it was so funny. They're like, Aundrea, we want you to come on our next TV show. We are invited. Let's go. We want you on the paranormal show. And this was so funny. But you got to sign this paper before you go. We fly you out and go to this haunted house and everything. And you've got to, tell them what you see, and you can collaborate with the guests, and you can do all that. And I'm like, what? What? I got to sign a piece of paper. They're like, yeah, that you can't like try to transcend or send them to the light or whatever. And I said, I'm like, okay, like, because I was experiencing, it was so funny. It was not like it wasn't like a test, but I was earlier here in Mauritius and I started noticing these new gifts of the underworld. Like here in Mauritius, there's this like cool
Mm,
underground waterfall
yeah.
and it's supposed to be an illusion. It's not an
I
illusion.
thought it was Photoshop when I first saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, it's not. It's all about the depths and the underworld
Mm,
and getting right and like the different realms. So anyway, so when you start emitting their own frequency, not just with love and your light, even the deceased or like I find myself walking on certain land and I see these spirits being released from the land or these orbs or I'll go somewhere and I'll see these long stares from people. I say, well, Spirit, what's going on? What's happening? I'm around all these people and stuff. And what is this? And I'll feel the warmth in my body. I'll feel the warmth all over. And they're like, you're doing mini soul retrievals everywhere you go with people. Everywhere you walk, you're doing soul retrievals on people. And as they go and they zone out and they're going to this other place, they're allowing, it puts them in a state of allowance, of receiving, and they can receive. I'll go to the, and I said, I can't sign this. I said, I'm already thinking about it, and all the ghosts that are there are already gone.
mm. Wow.
If they're lower energy and I'm asking to transmute it,
Mm,
if I'm a walking light, and people, how is that possible? This is our natural state of wholeness and well-being.
mm,
This is what the curanderos, the good, the ones that are practiced, the ones that are in ceremonies, and when we go to our elders and we go to, this is what they're doing. Hello. And we're
mhm,
still holding on and we're doing all these with our conscious because we have free will, right? We have all these things. But this is what you become your own frequency. You update the timelines when we're seeing the
mm,
shift in all the star seeds and the people are starting to talk about these things. And they're saying that we have to create more sustainability. They're bringing forth themselves. They're bringing this frequency that is very, very powerful, that is automatically breaking all the untruths and the old belief systems up so that
mm,
we can live in a more place of utopia. I always ask people, I'm like, so what is utopia? What does that look like? And if you had no doubt in your mind that that you just let go of that's not possible, what would that look like? How does it
mm,
feel in your body? What is your mind doing? Are you feeling light? Or is it triggering some of those five things or the inner critic or, all that stuff? Observe yourself and then go back. What does utopia in my own life look like? What does it look like when I'm living with my wishes fulfilled and the genie in the bottle? Like one of the questions that people ask me, so Aundrea, if you had a wish, 3 wishes, what would you wish for? What would you wish for? I said, I only need one more wish. Do you know this answer too, Gypsy? Do
no.
you know? Oh my God, ever since I was a little kid, I would ask for 1 trillion more wishes.
Mm, yeah, I do.
That's the life. That's the life. It's not scarcity. It's not we have a few wishes in the bottle and then it's done and then we failed. It's, oh my God, once we start seeing that the wishes can be fulfilled and our lives can be fulfilled and that we can have the joy, we can have these things, that those trillion more wishes,
Mhm. As long
we
as you're in
find
the energy.
possibilities too. Mm, yes. Yes. And yes. Absolutely. Frequency. It's a different
Yeah.
frequency, yes. And then being able to use the tools. That's why the positive emotions is so important. When you're clearing stuff, you're bringing in the light. What you're doing is you're making an intention. You're making an inspiration to illuminate whatever negativity is from the root. You're identifying it within the body, and you're giving that emotion attention. You're giving that child. I can go back and work with people and I see that inner child sometimes jump in that person's arms, it'll jump in my arms, and I'm looking into the eyes and I'm saying, would you like to integrate now? Would you like to go to the light, or would you like a new job? And you give that child either a new job, or they go to the light, or they help you out as your adult self, and you can go back to your childhood wishes, your childhood innocence, And you can say, I got your back. I see you. I know who you
Mm.
are. I love you. Sometimes it's just that. And things change all the way across the board. That's how our consciousness works through timelines, through space.
Have you ever came across someone that you just couldn't, or like a client that you just couldn't really get through, or it was particularly difficult?
Oh, yeah, sure. Especially in the early days. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Was
And
it?
it's okay. I usually ask my money back and I said, okay, you're not ready. But there's processes to do that you should do in your own practice to see where people are open. And there's
Mm,
questions that you should ask in your own practice. Things like, how can I ask this inside of yourself? And then asking the spirit of the person, or for them to hear in the most receptive way. Sometimes I can feel, and whatever I'm channeling will work that person through whatever that is before we get to the next step. So if I need to, this is very helpful. So, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how open are you feeling? And they might tell me, oh, I'm at like an 8. And then I check my pendulum, or I check my intuition, because I can see the
mm,
truth. And they came to me for the help. And I'm not saying this out of self righteousness, but my intuition says they're at a 2. Okay, so what would it take for you to get, let's move it up a couple notches. What is it gonna take? Or I'll say to myself, and I'll say to them, are you feeling a little bit more open? Are you feeling a little bit more, um, you know, whatever it is? Um, and then again, asking, how can I do this? And then some people just want to call, but it doesn't happen as much anymore, Gypsy. I don't
mm,
attract people there, and my frequency is so strong in a good way that I can sweep people right away from that. It's like a child. You got to
mm,
distract them. You got to move them into a different place. You got to see the possibilities. And if they're really steadfast on it, that either our phone call disconnects, or their internet's not working good, or they're static on the phone, or they get distracted and they need to be called at work, something comes in
mm,
that they're not able to do the session almost every single time if they're not ready to do the work. And if worse came to worse, and this hasn't happened yet, but if it did, I just asked for one of my friends actually was telling me about this, and they said they were working with somebody, and they said it was just going on and on and on. And then they said, you know what, I really like you and everything, but here's your money back. Come back to me some other time. Because all they were doing was complaining. So that person had to clear their own complaining stuff if they had anything in with them, and be understanding of that inside of themselves. I'm talking about the practitioner. We talked about that a little
mm,
bit. And then they were on their way because they transmuted it. They didn't take it personal. They didn't, say there's something wrong with me, and they didn't blame the client. They just saw something. They saw the different patterns that they were in, and they were there to assist them, and they just weren't ready yet. And so that practitioner probably needed they needed some stuff to work on themselves, cleared it, and we're good to go. Next. We all
mm.
learn from each other, right? We know this, Gypsy. Like
Yeah.
it's
And I feel like this type of process is more helpful than going
Mhm.
to a therapist, because a lot of times when you're going to a therapist, you're just kind of, sitting there and kind of complaining almost for years, and sometimes there's no actionable item, no action to take to kind of fix the issue, unless maybe
Yeah.
they listen to you for years and they'll give you some pointers. But
Yeah.
this type of process that you have is like it's getting to the root of the issue and helping them clear that.
Well, I'm
Uh,
hoping, like, in people like yourself too, and like other people, I'm hoping that people that are even psychologists, or maybe that were, I'm meeting a lot, and I work with them as clients too, but I have a lot of friends that are in the mental health, or that they are in life transition, or they're in, it's, we're everywhere. We're
mhm,
everywhere. So even in the psychology that they're using the degree, and they're
mhm,
finding solutions on how to bring in the spirituality, intuition, and bringing
yeah,
people back and being able to clear these things. Even we're seeing it with plant medicine, I think, that they're bringing stuff in.
yeah,
And and assisting. So we're on this trajectory of evolution where we're ready to get more real. And a lot of the extraterrestrials, the ETs, and they want us to do this. They're already there telepathically. They're in love. They love each other. They're in harmonious relationships. They're able to speak with compassion, and they're more elevated and know how to be in the physical body and still be able to access 3D, and light beings and things like that. That's all within too. So we have a way to go as a species, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're evolving, and we have lots of help. We have lots of
Yeah.
help. Yeah.
I guess before we close it out, can you tell them a little bit more about Vitality and some of the services you offer there?
Yeah, sure. Thank you again for letting me talk about that. I appreciate that, Gypsy, so much.
No problem.
Um, so you go to Vitality Unleashed Live. And we have a masterclass. I didn't know what else to call it. My marketer did masterclasses, but what it is we'll do intuitive readings. I'll tell you a little bit about the modules. It's wonderful. We have 3 different series, and it's not very. So what I had to do is, we only have so much time in the day. And when I was doing one-on-one sessions, it became very time consuming, and you get to a point where more abundance is coming in and you get new ideas, and more powers coming in, and the expansion. And it was like, okay, time for you to make modules. Instead of one person changing their life, we're going to talk about this, and boom, it's channeling in the modules. It's happening. So we have it on receiving. We have it on abundance. We have it on health. We have it on spirituality. We have it on self-love. So these different modules, and you can go literally about 5 or 6 hours on the first series, and completely it changes your whole insides and perspectives on how to look at things, the way that you are seeing and feeling and dealing with different emotions. And we have a series on the emotions too. We also have the 5 things to transmute for that inner critic, the emotions, behaviors, and things that we talked about through. We have the modules on how to clear the major things like guilt and the inner critic, and hello, and it can be done. And if you need to listen to them a couple times, it's a little bit of that shifting, and you start learning how to do it on your own and by yourself. And now you've just picked up a tool that is very powerful and that you can see results right away. It's like being in ceremony. You see something and you see it right in front of you, and you're going to be scared and you're going to vomit and poop all over yourself or whatever that it is. Right? And you're going down that path and whatever. And then now that there's this release and boo, well, there's ways that we can do that in the everyday world, just with right now, right here. And I show people how to do that. So within themselves, and they get to choose if they want to practice. Then we have a Facebook group with a lot of people that are becoming friends. Wonderful as they're going through the processes. And then I add modules and things like that. And I think there's the last one, like it's like silver, gold, and bronze. And it's anywhere from, I just don't even care. Like it's around $200, and then I don't know, $900 or something. My marketing guy would probably know a little bit more about that, but it's very reasonable. And the value, it's like, you just got like, wow, I just really wanted to still stay in my center, keep my vitality, and give as much as I possibly could, because it was coming from a place that I know when people are receiving this, that I elevate too. I really truly do. As people are empowered, I'm empowered too, and I love it. And yeah, and then for the last one, I think that we're going to start including a session with me for, I think, 25 minutes, and that would have been a lot more money from before. A lot. So we're going to open a few of those up for a little while too. But the masterclass, you get to ask me questions for a little while. I'll do some clearings and talk about the modules briefly. Fun. We'll laugh a lot. Maybe you'll cry. Maybe, feel elevation, feel lighter. Yeah.
Okay. And for the listeners, we'll have Andrea's information in the description.
Yay.
And thank you, Aundrea. This has been very educational and enlightening. Glad to have you on the episode.
Thank you for back and forth. Thank you for your clarity with things as we were going through. It was really beautiful how you brought that stuff around where people can really ground it. It was beautiful. You did a great job, Gypsy.
Oh, for sure. Because sometimes
Mhm.
I know my audience is not all the way in the spiritual. So I try to make it more practical or ask questions from someone who's not familiar at all with
Sure.
spirituality so that, the practicality can help them understand the importance of it, I guess.
Yes, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Andrea. It's been
Okay.
amazing.
Bye, sweetie. So good to meet you and your lovely
Like,
audience. Bye.
likewise. Bye.